Oh. Oh, no. What? What? This can't be real. This face.
It's your face, Dr. Sigma Climb.
Oh, okay. Well, nice robot eye I got.
Although, to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now.
Okay.
Zero, the mastermind of the AB project,
Is me one and the same?
is you.
That's, like, intense. No, that's not possible. That's bullshit.
No, it's the truth.
Back in that, so at the ending of that decision, me and Connie, from then forward, seek to fix what we fucked up. Okay.
Fighting it isn't going to do you any good.
Gotcha, Connie.
Please, Doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
You will be a pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
So I made everything here. You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him.
Create?
His name is Kyle Climb, your clone. That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself.
His name's Kyle?
23 years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle.
This is crazy. So, okay.
Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future.
Yeah, wherever my mind is sitting right now.
When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth's.
Okay, and
If nothing was done, the reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones.
yeah, I do recall that's like a weird thing that happens.
But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor. Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it. It kept his muscles and bones strong. He wasn't forced into it for the nonary game.
He was just always forced into it.
He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
But why would future me create a clone?
He was to be your spare.
In case I died and could not complete the AB game, he was meant to do it.
If something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that. I'm pretty positive Kyle tells me that himself.
Before that the AB projects A and B stood for after
And before, yeah.
That isn't all they mean, though.
What else could it mean?
The A also means anima, and the B means body.
Why anima body?
Anima is another word for the soul, or the consciousness.
So what, like soul out of body project?
Is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body.
You're
They
explaining to...
switch.
Okay. I get it now. Sigma already jumped. That's what you're trying to say. And I'm guessing Phi already jumped by that logic. So right now, this is a 45-year-old Sigma. Or not, the 45-year-ago Sigma. So he was like in his 20s. And he was abducted. And then his consciousness was switched. So the body switched places. And this one is now waking up here 45 years later on the lunar station after a failed run. While the younger Sigma is now being controlled by the older Sigma, and the older Phi is taking over the younger Phi in order to change the course of events that led to this failure in the first place.
That was the chief goal of the project.
Okay, that makes way more sense. So that is what happened. That's definitely the way to describe it in the third game. But I didn't realize he was figuring that out in this segment right here. Like right now, he's realizing it just happened. Wait, so the future person goes into the past person?
Sigma, do you remember the note you found in the garden?
You mean this, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Now that makes sense. These are connection points. Somehow connecting different yeah, sure.
Ah, of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this.
It looks like connection points.
It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making.
Oh, that's so weird.
A is where everything began. December 25th, 2028.
Okay.
You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old.
Okay.
Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future.
Well, I mean, 45 years into the future of this specific timeline, not the one that the older you jumped into.
I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity.
Yeah, because if you've lived on it for X amount of years, you stop thinking about it.
The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out. Moving on.
All right.
If you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C,
Yeah.
which is January 27th, 2074.
Which is where we are right now.
That is today.
Yes.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
36 hours to be exact.
How did that time fly by?
Have you already forgotten? You were all infected with Radical 6.
So we forget how time passes and everything goes slower, so like all the times we're getting are like way longer than what we're imagining in our heads.
The virus slowed your brain down.
Okay.
So yes, 36 hours of real time have passed.
Okay.
But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes.
That's so crazy.
Now comes the important part. After this, your consciousness will return to the past. It will re-emerge at point D.
Why point D?
April 13th, 2029.
Okay.
You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late.
Oh, when this body goes back.
You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened. The story does not end there, however.
Okay, but then what happens then?
The line continues. After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B.
Okay, so you can't escape it.
But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your consciousness will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body, until you reach point B.
So we tried to jump back, we failed, and then we lived 45 years to do one more jump to go back to point A. Or maybe the convergence of point E, and that's the path we want to take.
Do you remember when B is Sigma?
January 25th, 2074. According to what you just told us, it was 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma.
Yes.
So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
Back to 2027? 25. Oh, yeah, 2028. Yeah, point A. December 25th, 2028. The day all of this started.
Yes. His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
But once that body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back from point C. Okay, so what happens is they swap. But at that point, he only has a certain amount of time to fix it before he loses that chance, returns back to point C, and point B will return back to point D, thus right after the reactors are blowing up, thus being unable to save or stop what was going to happen. That's why it's so important that he goes back to A and does the correct actions to make point E, thus going this way.
That's correct.
Okay, that makes more sense.
When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at C.
So it's rotating?
Rotating. I suppose you could put it that way, but look at this illustration closely. What if you take all these lines and untangle them?
They're all kind of paths.
You get one single line.
Yeah.
It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path, with one exception.
This line here at point E, right?
Exactly. Point E is December 31st, 2028, the day of the total eclipse.
The day Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes. By now, you've likely figured it out on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A.
And then fix it and go down a new pathway.
If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
But then does that mean that this 67-year-old Sigma will overwrite this Sigma forever, and this will just be old Sigma in a young body? So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out. By jumping into my 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve 2028.
Yes, that is why this line could not be interrupted.
I get it.
In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C. And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility.
So we already did jump once and failed. This was a reboot to get us to try one more time to get the correct path. Otherwise, if we fail, we redo the same thing over and over again to get to the same answer to hopefully get E to happen.
That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point.
Okay.
So that we might save humankind from destruction.
Alright, I like this kind of background to it. This explains a lot of the gaps I didn't really get.
And undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
Tell me one thing.
What is that?
You said that point C is January 27th, 2074, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon.
Soon?
Yes.
And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the fourth dimension.
Is this facility gonna blow up?
Fortunately, we now have plenty of that.
Why is that?
Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness, like a bullet from a slingshot.
And how do you propose to do that?
Didn't I tell you? A crisis. A moment balanced between life and death. That can jumpstart your brain.
You're about to blow us all up, aren't you? What do you mean?
You haven't figured it out. I mean this.
Wait, what? Dio's knife? No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Is she gonna stab me? Phi! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife driving towards Phi's chest. I was almost there. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for the cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. It was on it was written a few words in Latin. Tu fui ego eris. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be. Is that the ending? Holy shit. Okay.
Today is April 13th, 2029, and this is the evening news. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't have any news to read. All of our station's reporters have passed after contracting Radical 6. So have my... Excuse me.
Poor woman, making her read this shit. Oh my god.
I've managed to keep us on the air until now. But I'm out of tricks.
Well, thank you for doing as much as you could.
It's time for me to sign off. This concludes our broadcast day. I pray that someday our world can be cleansed of this horrible plague.
Me too, newscaster lady.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, what? Don't do it on air, crazy woman. Also, how did they turn off the cameras if the... Regardless of the point. Okay, whatever. For a moment, I just stared at the TV. The roar of the static seemed to fill the entire room until, with a click, it disappeared too. Had the power gone out? No. I heard footsteps behind me and turned around. You. Holy shit. Akane, you're young as fuck. Hey.
It looks like the first step was successful.
What the fuck? You killed me.
Killed?
I guess technically you're going to kill me 45 years from now, but still.
Hey, no need to be rude about it.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I just got stabbed.
I didn't kill you. I hit you with the butt of the knife. You're fine.
Oh, I'm okay?
Yes, you and Phi needed to experience a state of crisis.
What, for the final jump?
That was the only way.
Okay. Me and Phi.
Yes, I only told you about you, but we also needed Phi to jump.
Where is she then?
Now, you know what happens next, right?
We go to the moon?
Correct. We will be leaving tomorrow, April 14th, 2029.
Okay, sure.
We've nearly finished preparing your shuttle. Only a few last-minute checks and additions. You'll be traveling to Rhizome 9, along with 3 treatment pods.
Yeah, we got Clover and Alice, right? Alice and Clover, right?
Yes.
What about the third one? Who's in there?
Phi. We put her into cold sleep 2 days ago.
Oh. Phi, I guess to keep her young.
She appeared at our headquarters and volunteered to be frozen. That wasn't the Phi who jumped from point C, though. It was Phi before she jumped from point A to point D.
Really?
In other words, she was following the same path you are.
Yeah.
And she still is.
Then that means after you froze her, the point C version of her jumped back into her body?
Yes. The point C version of Phi is sleeping in that pod. She'll stay there for the next 45 years.
Okay.
Sleeping in ice.
And then when she gets to point B, her consciousness will jump to point A, right?
Correct.
So that's why she didn't look old. So why don't you just stick me in one of those pods?
We can't do that.
Why not?
You haven't figured it out? You have to spend the next 45 years working on the AB project.
Yeah.
After arriving at Rhizome 9, you must master genetic engineering and artificial intelligence programming, among other disciplines.
So that's why we're there for so long?
Otherwise, you will be unable to create Kyle, Luna, and Lagomorph. And, of course, you will need to develop the chromatic doors and the bracelets.
Seems like the bracelets aren't that hard to figure out, considering you guys dealt with them in the first game. It seems very logical. Maybe the harder part is the voting system. Probably Lagomorph. And, Kyle, because he's a full genetic creation.
You will also be the person who summons Tenmyoji and Quark.
But why does he hate me?
Once you've completed all the preparations, then the project can actually begin. January 25th, 2074.
Yeah, so that's the whole point. We're rushing to do this.
You will defrost Phi and carry her to the third AB room. Once you've done that, the 22-year-old version of you from point A will force you out. And you'll just go back 45 years to your own body on December 25th, 2028.
This is a lot of time jumping. This is a rapid explanation of what we just heard. And then I changed history. Do you really think I can keep the virus from getting out?
You have to. If you don't, billions of people will die.
Yeah, we just watched the news reporter kill herself. Okay.
Only you and Phi can save them.
Okay, you got me. What about you? Aren't you an Esper too?
I can't do anything on my own. If this is going to work, I'll need your help.
All right. You got me along for the ride then, Connie. Let's do it. So, what do I need to do?
What do you mean?
Like, what specific actions do I need to take? When Phi and I jump to point A, what are we going to do then?
You'll both enter the Mars mission test site.
And after that?
I don't know.
What?
I'm sorry. I really don't know anything about what happens in there. We don't know how the Radical Six escaped.
Okay, gotcha.
We don't even know why it was there in the first place.
Oh, crap. Then we're screwed.
That's why we need your help.
Yeah, to help come together and solve the issue.
You have the ability to jump through time and across parallel worlds. We need you to figure out what happened in that test facility. Things will be difficult.
Yeah, they are. They sure are difficult.
And I'm sure you will find yourself in a great deal of danger. But I believe the two of you can overcome any obstacle.
Wait, how do you know it's so dangerous?
The 67-year-old version of you told me what happened. He wasn't able to stop the virus. So I suppose you could say you told me.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. What did I say?
That the test facility is full of traps. There was one point. A woman's life was in danger. You risked yourself for her sake and lost your arms and your right eye.
That is the releasing of Radical 6 right there, actually. My arms and my right eye. What the hell? Suddenly a low rumble shook the building. And that's the generators going off. What was that?
Go have a look.
Like, you're living through some shit, man. I moved slowly to the window and peered outside. On the horizon, I could see a massive mushroom cloud climbing slowly toward the sky. Would we really be able to change the course of history? No, that was the wrong way to look at it. It couldn't be a question. I had to change history. We could save the world. I'm going to change history. I stared at the darkening skies above us and steeled myself. I would succeed.
Where?
Oh, wait, what the fuck? Stop these reveals, game! Where?
I see you've finally woken up, Kyle.
Kyle?
Ah, yes. Of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline. It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing.
What's going on? I lurched upright, jumped off the bed, and ran around the other side of the partition. The mirror over the sink was covered with a film of dust. I wiped it off with my sleeve, and a reflection stared back at me. There was no mistake. The reflection belonged to...
Kyle Climb. So, I'm Dr. Climb? Zero Senior's clone?
What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia?
Wait, I jumped into... Okay. An excellent question. One I didn't quite know the answer to myself. I knew who Kyle Klim was. In another history, he'd been called K and had worn a suit of armor. He hadn't just worn the armor in that history, though. Apparently, he worn it all his life. Kyle had been born and raised in the lunar installation, which seemed to be called Rhizome 9. Rather late in his life, Akane had appeared as a mother figure, and he had consequently grown very attached to her. I knew everything about him, but even though I knew it, I didn't feel it. Was I really Kyle Klim? Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw his face. A spitting image of Sigma Klim, or Climb, from his younger days. I looked down. There was Dio, still handcuffed. I turned back around to Luna.
What day is today?
January 27th, 2074.
Okay.
And today is the last day of the AB project. Akane has explained everything in the garden. And she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep?
About 5 hours in real time.
Okay, that's not too bad.
For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours.
So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6?
No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect.
Okay.
I see. So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. It should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right?
Yes.
Why am I here?
The doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod in the garden.
So the person you call the doctor is Sigma Climb, as inhabited by his age-appropriate consciousness.
Yes, but how do you know that?
Yeah, this is like a weird situation.
Dio seems to have remained unconscious.
Yes, I've been administering Soparil whenever he gets restless.
That's fucked up.
What about the others?
They've all gone off to different areas. Tenmyoji and Quark, for instance.
So this is after the time jump occurs. Okay.
Right! Mr. Klein!
So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh?
What are you two doing here?
You don't know where we are?
This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get dressed and head out.
Oh, you guys are leaving?
You plan to return then? To Earth, I mean.
Yeah.
Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here.
Well, guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore. He's Dr. Climb now, or Zero Senior, depending on how you look at it.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Well, I'm just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here.
How's staying here gonna help? You aren't gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you?
No, I don't think Junpei would be that type of guy in the first place anyway, but okay.
You can't wait for something that's already happened. Grammar doesn't work that way. Hell, nature doesn't work that way.
Fair. Good points, Tenmyoji. Good points.
You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and the antimatter reactors blew up. That all happened. Whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not gonna change. In fact, it's because of what he did, or didn't do in the past, that we've got this past and present. Let me give you an example. Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway.
Okay, sure.
Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, and the other stretches out to the northeast. So one guy, we'll call him S, pipes up. "Let's go northwest," he says. So they take the northwestern road. But about a mile past the intersection, something horrible happens. A semi driving the other way veers into their lane and plows through the bikers.
Jeez, nice dark example there, Tenmyoji.
90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded, but survive. They don't stop, though. They keep riding down that highway, and eventually they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly, something happens that they couldn't have predicted. S, who had survived, suddenly has his consciousness thrown back in time. He ends up back in his own body just before they reach the junction.
Oh, and he chooses the other way.
He remembers everything. So what does S do? What anybody would do. Let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive to reach their destination, happy and healthy.
But that does not change the 10 that went through the other path get that freedom anymore. They still live in their world. They didn't get saved at all.
And they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and survived the accident?
Yeah, they will never change.
Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S's mind went back in time, right?
Right. Okay, 9 people then. What happens to the reality they were living?
It doesn't stop happening. They have to live through that, regardless of the point.
Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure. That 10,000-mile journey would be full of stories. Friendships, farewells, romances. The loss of those 90 lives is horrible and unfortunate. But what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase all that?
Huh. That's a very interesting way to put it, Tenmyoji.
The survivors overcame their own misery and loss and made the best they could of the hand they'd been dealt. Isn't that worth something?
You know, I happen to agree with that, Tenmyoji. I really do.
Isn't that the best thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where everything is happy? Are people who struggle for a better life just idiots?
I wouldn't say that, but I get where you're coming from.
Being human is about fighting, even when it seems hopeless, and finding happiness, even in a world that hates it. Are you saying that's worthless? If you're saying rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can
Can go fuck themselves. I'll say it for you, man. It's okay.
You get it?
If Sigma changes the past, then you and Quark will never meet.
And he doesn't want that, because he loves Quark. And even if the path he met Quark on is shit, he still has the happy memories of being with Quark, you know? So that's all he cares for.
Is he right?
No, it's not gonna happen. We're here right now. This is reality.
Yeah, he met you. This is your reality forever. There may be a new reality where he doesn't meet you, but that doesn't change that you're together now in this one.
Even if Sigma does change the past, we're not just gonna disappear or something.
Oh, then that means we get to stay together?
Yes, yes it does, buddy.
Good.
Aww.
Thanks, kid.
I understand how you feel. Why you want to return to Earth is clear. You have lives there, I imagine. There are likely people waiting for you.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Have you already said goodbye to the others?
Bye, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us off. We told them we'd see him again someday, and then came here.
They were the only people you want to say goodbye to?
No point saying anything to Dio.
Yeah, that's true.
Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too.
Sorry, but we didn't really know much about you.
You have a point. Akane was in the armor in this timeline, after all. What about Sigma?
Well, he's not really Mr. Sigma anymore.
Of course. He is Dr. Climb now that his consciousness has returned.
Yeah, now he is the super smart, not Sigma you know.
Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy who brought us all here. Not a lot of warm feelings there, you know?
And Akane?
Never mind her. She's just like him. Not the Akane I knew.
That's so sad. Like, you came here to see her, and she's like a totally different person. I don't know, man. That shit, like, fucks with you.
She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years.
I mean, a lot of dead bodies, a lot of explosions. You know, it happens.
Hell, she might not even be human anymore. But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere.
Well, she's in the past.
In the end, Clover and I were just pawns. Pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we were completely resentful. We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand, but...
Kinda sucks, though.
Yeah, you guys were just completely unable to do anything.
I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy. They get to go back to December 25th in 2028. They'll stop the Radical Six and save the world, and then they'll have a nice, normal future to look forward to. In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy history like it was supposed to happen.
No. I mean, it's not that easy. And yeah, sure, they get an own path where they get to see happiness in a different way, but it doesn't change that. Just, yeah, I guess it kind of sucks. It means that you guys don't get that opportunity. But at the same time, you kind of do, because if they fix everything, then you guys will be saved as a result of that. So it's not like the worst thing, but it sucks.
But we don't. We're stuck with Point C as our starting point.
Yeah.
You told us about Tenmyoji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. Then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest.
Oh, and then you don't even get to experience the traversing. You just are just there. That's your start, is the end.
Don't get us wrong. We know why we had to be here.
That still sucks, because you have no decision in it.
Without us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right before the intersection.
If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But
It's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died.
are we just supposed to go live on Earth? It's a wasteland now. And what about our friends and families? We left a whole world behind 45 years ago.
How are you going to explain to them that you guys never aged? You know, there's so many questions. It's so disconnected.
Even if it is for the greater good?
It just doesn't seem fair, does it?
No, it does not.
Yeah, it's a little bit much.
So we went and talked to the old lady.
She told us that there is one way.
One way we could get back to the past.
Let's say you do go back to the past. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and Phi's jumps worked, at least.
Yes, you're right.
But this is different.
Different? How so?
From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we can send our bodies back in time, too.
That's ridiculous.
You're going to use the machine.
It would create a paradox. How could you have 2 Clovers and 2 Alices at the same time?
But that wouldn't happen.
Akane says there's a way around that.
How the
How on
hell
earth
would
does
you
she
do
plan to do
that?
that?
Schrodinger's?
Oh, hey, Kyle.
Hey, this is a lot of questions that I didn't expect.
Figured you'd come here eventually.
Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him.
He said he was tired, so he's off resting right now.
Okay, sure, cool.
There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. He's in there if you're curious. Oh, right. He told me to turn on this hologram projector thing when you showed up. Want me to start it?
Sure.
What am I gonna see here?
There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell you. However, I imagine there are a great number of things weighing on your mind. I'd love to answer all your questions, but unfortunately, my circumstances make that an impossibility. I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know, Phi should also know. I have instructed her to answer any questions anyone might have. Anyone other than Kyle, that is.
Why anyone other than me?
What does he mean, other than Kyle?
Who knows? Is there anything you want to ask?
Right, well, I guess I may as well cut to the chase. Just who are you, Phi?
I'm not Superman, that's for sure. And I'm not Batman or Spider-Man or Aquaman
What?
or a merman
Well,
or a wolfman.
I'm glad you're not a man.
I'm not a Brahmin or common or ramen. I'm not a Cayman either, so you really don't need to worry about anything.
Please don't dodge the question. About 5 hours ago, Akane attacked you with a knife. That triggered something which sent your mind back to the past, correct? Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th, 2029. On that date, your body was already in Akane's custody. Although by then you were in cold sleep, you wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years.
That's such a weird situation.
You slept there, frozen, until the time was right. Then on January 25th, 2074, you were finally thawed out, even though you didn't wake up. Still unconscious, you were carried to the AV room. That was when your consciousness changed bodies again. A version of you from December 25th, 2028 arrived, pushing you out and sending you back to December 25th, 2028. This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body. Together, you attempted to infiltrate the Mars mission test facility. Fortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve. That failure determined the path you followed.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how all this connects.
Instead of going along the line that branches out to the right from Point E, you headed straight to Point D. Point D being April 13th of the following year.
So you guys failed. You knew you needed to reset, so you volunteered yourself directly. That's what happened. Okay. So knowing full well when you fail it, you have to donate your body. Okay. That makes way more sense now.
That was the day that you made your way to Akane's hideout and asked to be put into one of the treatment pods.
That makes a lot of sense.
Another consciousness enters your body around that time from the future. It is, of course, the version of you that left your body when Akane attacked you in the garden. This caused the two versions of you to swap places, and you moved 45 years into the future, where you woke up on the garden floor. That put you on the line that comes here. So if we discount the time you spent in cold sleep, for you, only 3.5 months have passed since that happened.
That's such a weird timeline.
That being when you were sent back into the past from the garden. Have I missed anything?
No, everything you talked about you got right.
What do you mean by that?
I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could think of me as a kind of X factor.
Why an X factor, to be specific?
It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it.
I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain?
Well, I'm glad you at
It's
least
kind of like
thought
the
that.
relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics. Strictly speaking, you can't combine velocities with v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2 divided by 1 plus v1 times v2 over c squared is the actual equation.
What the hell did you just tell me?
Of course, the sort of velocities we encounter in day-to-day life don't come close to being c squared, which is the speed of light squared. That means that 1 plus v1 times v2 divided by c squared is usually going to evaluate to something pretty close to 1. Since that would mean dividing by 1, it's usually okay to just skip that step and use v1 plus v2. You see what I'm saying? In most situations it works, even if it isn't technically correct. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about, right? As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems.
I don't quite
Yeah,
understand.
wait, what am I gonna do?
In fact, I feel like you're dodging my questions.
So was that what you wanted to ask about?
No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the Mars mission test site, didn't you?
Yes.
What happened there? How did Sigma lose his eye and both his arms?
He blew him up. Old style, like explosion.
And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with the simulated mission to space?
It was actually to... whatever.
Sorry, but I can't tell you that.
Why?
Because it would change history.
But why would that matter to Kyle?
There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation, and Earth isn't red. The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that reality will disappear.
But why? Why does it matter so much to Kyle?
You understand?
I don't. Why would all of that disappear if you told me what I want to know?
You're about to go back to the past, right?
The past? Don't be silly. I can't do that.
Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff?
Oh, shit. So wait, Sigma didn't really jump. He came back to Kyle to, I guess, talk to everybody. And now he's going to jump one more time to the past.
I just listened to you tell me a bunch of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod in the garden. You just woke up. So how can you know all this? You know my past. Sigma's past.
That explains so damn much.
I shall give you your answer. You are not Kyle Klein.
No, I'm Sigma still.
Your body is Kyle's, but your consciousness is not. Think about it. Do you really believe you're Kyle?
Oh, fuck no, I don't. I thought I was Sigma since I woke up.
Or could you be someone else entirely?
Then, where is the real Kyle's consciousness?
He was thrown out when you entered. Right now, in a manner of speaking, he has arrived at December 25th, 2028.
So wait, is this a bad thing?
His consciousness has gone into a body from that time. I doubt you know how much the doctor loves Kyle. He raised him on his own. Kyle is irreplaceable. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here?
Wait, what?
I know what I told the others, that Kyle was Dr. Klein's spare, but that was not his only purpose. Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish.
What are you trying to accomplish here?
This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve 2028. Its purpose will be to infiltrate the test facility and prevent the spread of the virus. For this to happen, Kyle is absolutely necessary.
Does that mean Kyle's the one that goes in the third game and not Sigma?
And that is why he created him?
Yes.
So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the Doctor has achieved his objective. Kyle has gone back to 2028 to participate in his mission.
Correct.
There's one thing that troubles me. Kyle was created before reaching point B from point D. That means his body did not exist on Christmas in 2028. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places?
I suppose you could put it that way, yes.
That's ridiculous. What's going to happen to me? You telling me I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body?
No, not at all. You can travel freely through time and space. You are an uncontrolled variable that entered our closed system.
But what does that mean for me? Like, I'm just stuck here now. I mean,
As such, the rules of this world do not apply to you.
but what? Okay.
I have no idea what...
Please don't try to play dumb. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too. You are about to go into the past and save the world.
Wait, what? What?
Phi and Sigma, even with all of his future knowledge, will need your help. Only you can right the horrible wrongs of our past.
I don't understand what's going on.
Only you can save the world.
There's no way I...
Yes, there is. You have to. Don't you want to know the truth?
Sure I do, but what the fuck is this?
Don't you want to know what happened in between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028?
Well, yes, I do, but...
Then you must believe. Reality is shaped by what we believe reality should be. If observation can change the motion of a particle, then how is it odd to think that human thought can shape reality?
Sure.
Your will can change history. The world will be reshaped into the one you imagine.
What the hell am I? Am I Kyle? Am I Sigma? Am I the ninth lion? What?
Remember what I've told you. Only you can change history.
Okay, thanks, Connie.
Only you can save the world.
Why do I feel like the Avatar? What does that mean? Where does this connect? What is all of this? Alternative end. That is just an alternative end. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. It had a lot of leg. Psych, bitch! It's not over yet in it. So this episode might not just be one episode. It might be two. I don't know how I'm going to decide to showcase it to you guys. But anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this series. It was freaking great. I've loved it from start to finish. It's been great. I've loved it. I'm so glad to have played this game series. If anything, if you guys only seen like an episode or two of this, or if you followed me through everything, I highly recommend you play it yourself. I highly recommend it. It is a very enjoyable game, and even watching it doesn't carry the same weight as like playing it yourself and seeing the characters and how they interact and how everything connects together. I really love the way this game was done. And on the horizon, there's a new game coming out from the same writer who did this. So keep on the lookout for that to come out, because I will play that game. And if it's a long series, like maybe 2 games or 3 games, I will continue to play that, because I just love the way they did this. And I would love to see more of just the same kind of writing behind it. But anyway, guys, I really, from the bottom of my heart, love this series. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And as always, I'll see you guys at whatever I make next. And it's Tofuru, signing out.